In this section, we're going to take a look at slope. Slope describes the steepness of a line. So if I graph a line, okay, it's a straight line, how steep it is what's known as my slope. It's calculated by looking at the rise over the run. In other words, the vertical change, what is the change in y, over the change in x, the horizontal change, my run. So when I graph things, or when I figure out what my slope is, if a line is increasing, so I always read it from left to right, if it looks like it's going up, should have a positive slope. If it's going down, my slope should be negative. And if it's a straight horizontal line, it'll have a zero slope. And if it's straight up and down, it'll have an undefined slope. So let's take a look at these. So in my first example, okay, I'm going to remember that I'm going to look at what my rise is over what my run is. So I'm going to pick one point to start at. It doesn't matter which one I go. So I'm going to go up, choose to go up a certain amount. And I'm going to choose to go over a certain amount. So if I count how far I have to go up, I go up 1, 2, 3 spots. So it's going to be a positive 3. My run is going to be positive 3 in this case. And that's going to be over my run, which would be over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. So my run in this case would be 8, positive 8. So in this case, my slope, I can say, is going to be 3/8. Now, what you may have also decided to do is instead of beginning with this point down here, you may also begin with this point up here. And if I do that, to get to my second point, I would have to go down 3. So I would say it's down, which is going to be negative 3. Okay. Over my run, which in this case, if I go this direction, I'm going to have to go to the left 8 points, or in other words, negative 8. Now I need to simplify this. In this case, I had a positive over a positive, which gave me a positive answer. In the second one, I've got a negative divided by a negative. Well, a negative divided by a negative is always going to give me a positive answer. So I would say my answer is positive 3/8. So what you will notice is the slope I got here and the slope I got here were the exact same. So the slope of this line is 3/8. And in general, the larger this number, the steeper then the slope would be. Let's look at another. In this case, too, you will notice that the slope is increasing, or the line is increasing. It's beginning lower on the left and then rising as I go to the right. So it should have a positive slope, which in this case it actually does. So when I look at another example here, okay, first thing I'll notice is that it's beginning higher and going lower. So my slope should end up being negative. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Once again, I'm going to remember that I'm going to look at what my rise is over what my run is. So when I look at rise, let's begin, I start here. Okay, I would have to go down, in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So I go down 4 spaces, which I say is going to be a negative 4. And that's going to be over going to my right 1, 2 spots. Since I'm going to the right, it's going to be positive. Well, negative 4 over positive 2 simplifies to give me negative 2. So I'm going to say my slope is negative 2. Because of the way the signs worked out, that's how come it's negative, which matches my understanding that since the line is decreasing, it's going down from left to right, it's going to be negative. Okay, let's look at this the other direction. If I start with this other point, let's see, I would go up 4, which would give me a positive 4. And then I would go to the left 2 spots, which would be negative. So positive 4 divided by negative 2 is going to give me an answer of negative 2, which matches my understanding. Okay. So this is basically a basic understanding of graphs, okay, of sort of how to calculate slope based off of calculating what's my rise and my run in my graph. So this is the beginning, and we're going to go a little bit deeper, but if at this point we can just look at it being rise divided by the run, or the vertical change divided by the horizontal change, whichever one makes more sense to you, that's going to be the most important thing right now.